And
Yes, it will all be recorded and we can't cut anything out.
so it's already recording?
It's already recording now. That's something that I'm looking forward when Circle shifts that, because it's a bit unnecessary.
Hello.
I can't hear you. Can you hear us?
Here.
Ah, wait, you are muted. No? No, still can't hear you. Mm-hmm. I should be all right here on our side.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I could hear you all the time. It doesn't work with the headphones. That's fine. Tanya!
Hey, so thanks for the spontaneous invitation.
Yes. Since you are
The internet connection is not great. It's probably on our side, isn't it?
Wait, Sonia. We have some problems connecting.
But it's the right one.
Yeah.
please.
Well, we have to try our best. You know, the thing is, we are in the middle of nowhere in Italy, and the internet connection is not great. But let's see what we can manage. Otherwise, I will try to jump on a hotspot.
Will you try to? It's unstable. Yeah. Let's try.
Let's try to shift this. Okay, are we back now?
Yes, you are.
Is that better?
We'll see. The video not, but the rest, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of blurred, but we know how you look, so. As long as the audio is great.
Yeah, I think that's the most important.
We thought it would be a really nice idea to give it a try, to speak directly from the Unlock Myself retreat, relationship edition, and pick the topic relationships, because we are in the middle of it for the past 5 days, no? Or not even 5 days, maybe even months, because we already got in touch with this topic a lot in our own lives. Yeah. So how do we want to do this session?
So we don't want to go like into the stories of the participants, but was there like some undercurrent or recurring theme that came up, or something that was like the hot topic? Or, you have a lot of participants there, right? So it would be interesting just to hear about the dynamics when you actually dive deep into that topic, without going into the individual stories, of course.
Yeah. You want to start?
I think from the very beginning, we arrived here not really knowing how we will receive the group, how will the group feel for us. So we let it the first day really to observe and also observe the dynamics in between participants, which when you put the topic relationship has the potential of creating friction. So that was something that we also observed, and we had a very open, courageous conversation about how everyone felt on the last evening, so we can really, feel what was maybe the needs and the expectation that were put on this retreat. And I felt like for many, the topic relationship was very driven with the other. And people were expecting that on the first day we will do many connecting exercise, and for us it was really important that the first day was connecting with oneself, which obviously wasn't or is a difficult subject.
Yes, I mean, the biggest challenge here and the biggest chance at the same time is that the group is so diverse. We have very different, backgrounds, people with different backgrounds, people from different age groups, people in different stages of their own kind of journey. You know, some of them are very new to personal development, and others are like experts in some way. So bringing this very diverse mix together is, how can you say, it's explosive. And we had a bit of a pressure cooker for the first 2 days, I guess. And then afterwards it was got a little bit lighter and a bit easier, right? And now we are on day 5. Yeah. So let's see what today and tomorrow brings. But one thing that I realized is when we send out the invitation to this retreat, it attracts people that both can challenge each other and benefit from each other automatically. And that's what we are, working with here.
Well, that sounds super intense. I guess the heat is also super intense, so it really is a cooking pot. And when you said that, it's kind of a melting pot, right? People come together, they don't know each other, most of them. Maybe some are couples or friends, but most of them don't know each other. So when you go in there, I can imagine you don't know who is gonna be there. It's not about like yoga or another topic that kind of unites people and that attracts very like-minded people. So I guess it's really very diverse. And when you said you were going to share last night or the nights before how people were feeling, I imagine that needs a lot of courage to be that kind of vulnerable to share in a group where you still maybe are not sure about some people and not sure about the connections, about the amount of trust that you can have. So how did that go overall?
Step by step.
Yeah.
Each one in their own pace. Oh, hi, Kelly.
New joiner. Hi.
Yay!
Hey, I didn't know that you were joining. So nice.
I didn't know either.
Good to
Surprise
see you.
guest.
Yeah, we were just sharing that the opening up and trusting happened very differently, depending on the individual and where they're at. But I think, or at least today it feels like that we are in a pretty connected space together. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think really like the topic of trust is something that is again very linked to how much you trust yourself, how sure you are within your own body. And we had also really one evening where we concentrate on the topic of trust with some blindfolded exercise so they can really experience it in their body without having the mind constantly like putting some barriers and some filters. And I think this was really helpful for the group too.
That's a nice idea. Sorry, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, just maybe I should have said that in the very beginning already of this call. What makes this retreat a bit different from many other retreats, I suppose, is that it's process work, right? And it's not that we are outside of the group and teaching. We are in the group and we are completely open and sharing our own examples and also sharing our own emotions when we get triggered. And this is, I believe, very challenging first, but also very beneficial. Yeah, because when you jump into the deep water first, others have an easier time to follow.
True. It might probably also challenge the idea. Some people have of what it means to be a facilitator or leader, or because you use like this is the kind of perfect model that never loses its cool or his cool, and so
Yeah, forget about that. That already got basically destroyed on day one. Yes.
on purpose, of course, right? Because you want to be authentic. Or
Yes. I mean, we are both committed to that, you know, to showing up authentically. But I would have wished for a lighter start, for sure. But sometimes you can't decide it like that.
So what comes to your mind, Kelly, when you talk about relationships in general, or also maybe in this retreat setting? We talked about the setting that they have in Tuscany, that you kind of like these movies about when you are a group of people that don't know each other and you strand on an island and you have to get along, and you know, temperatures rising and characters.
It's a bit like that, to be honest, yeah, because the next village is 20 minutes away and it's 32 degrees. So
the question was in regards to what, relationships or how I deal with it? I didn't understand, sorry.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the general topic is relationships, but usually we have relationships that we're quite used to, you know, like family, work. It's all in this comfortable bubble of environment that we know. And in this, especially in this Tuscany setting that you are, is kind of a very uncertain exposition, or like an experiment. You are with people that you don't know. Maybe you know just one person, you have your own issues, you are in a place that you don't know. So there are a lot of factors that put you in the unknown. So I feel that this is when you really get to know yourself and your relationship dynamics and how you behave in relationships. Because otherwise you're just in your pattern of, oh, okay, that's how I treat this person, that's how I react with that person, right? So maybe you remember when you were in a similar setting, how that was, what challenges came up for you, or what do you remember about that?
I think I'd like to talk about a current situation at work which is happening. Today there's going to be a review board, and there the leadership team are going to decide if our project will be postponed again. And I've spoken to a few people over the past few days and how it's made them feel. And obviously it makes me contemplate how I'm feeling. Who am I in relation to this upcoming unknowing change? I have no clarity right now if it's going to happen or not. So I have contemplated on who am I being. And I've decided that it's actually quite nice to have a breather right now where all the tasks that I'm usually working on aren't so incredibly important or urgent. And I just get to decide to push it a bit aside and be a bit more mindful and breathe and be, as much as I can, comfortable in the unknown.
So it's like, when I understand you correctly, you're more able to focus on the relationship with yourself and how you are related to your work situation.
I try, yes.
It's also a relationship, right? It's not just with people. We have a relationship with our role at work, our projects. Yeah.
I mean, we had a bit of a similar-ish situation here because we chose to not release the whole schedule beforehand, which can be helpful to orient yourselves, you know, like to see, this is what I have to expect. I can prepare myself a little bit, and I can choose which session to attend and which session not to attend. And we decided not to do this because we had no idea about the group dynamics because it's so diverse, right? So we first wanted to really test the waters and feel into it, and then adjust. And now, you know, on day 5, I have to say, we probably are using only 20% of the initial schedule. We had to rearrange almost everything according to the group, according to the weather, according to, you know, the energy of the day, whatever you name it, you know. And I think it's much better like this. But it means for the participants to face the unknown every day.
Yeah, but at least you have somebody, you know, in your case, they are also in a secure environment. They have somebody who takes care of them. They don't have to take care of the food, of where they're gonna sleep, what they're gonna do. So it's maybe also easier to rest in that unknown, right? You can just really be, like Kelly said, and focus on who you are, and you don't have to focus so much on how you're gonna structure the day and get things done. So yeah.
But it was also, I needed time, you know, and again, I really see like this mirror in between the control and the trust. And the control really needed time to kind of fade away so that the people could really trust us. And I really felt at the beginning like the trust wasn't gonna be given for free. We will have to like gain it and own it, and build the muscle of trust. And I think this is a topic that we can extend to so many different types of situation and relationship, actually.
Yeah. I have a question for you too. Do you have, I know some participants may have like their single room, but I've been to many retreats or places where you're kind of secluded and you're with a group. And what I always felt was missing was a space, maybe a room or somewhere where you can be just on your own, where you have like your privacy and nobody's going to barge in. Because I'm personally, when it comes to relationships, it's always this dance of, I love being with people, but I need a lot of space for myself. And sometimes when you're in these places, in retreat scenarios, there's hardly any space for yourself. And for me, this can be a huge, not just challenge, but very stressful for my system. Maybe that's just like my personality, but I think if I was in your situation, I, from personal experience, would be very mindful to have like this refuge for some people who really need that. So I was wondering, do you have something there?
I mean, the place is made to be able to take your space, and so we have a lot of single rooms that have been booked, way more than the other years. And as it is so good weather outside, you know, the house is almost empty, and the temple where we practice yoga is also almost empty in the day. There is different lying chairs. So I think it's also about, you know, lovingly putting your boundaries, someone engage with you, so that, you know, you kind of can say, okay, now I need some time for myself, and it's okay if, you know, we don't engage and I don't want to be rude. And I'm very lucky, and I think as leaders of the retreat, we need some space to replenish. So maybe on a walk or just retreat in your room. I think that's very important. But we don't have like one room that is like silent for meditation, and we don't.
It's a very dynamic space, so to say. But you can find, you know, something. And also you can go for walks outside, and you will hardly meet anyone except maybe mosquitoes and flies.
Mm-hmm. A lot.
So you will never be
No, but you mentioned, Tanya, you mentioned the communication, and I forget a lot about that, to really also, that it's my responsibility to actively communicate what is happening with me. And sometimes I just assume that people feel that, or they notice that maybe, and that's of course not the case. So yeah, it's also part of living with others or being with others in a close encounter.
Yes. I mean, we have this type of dynamic every day. You know, connecting with your own needs, being able to communicate them, dealing with the response from the others, and these dynamics play out all the time in various ways. Yeah, and one thing actually that maybe we didn't make it so clear or clear enough from the very beginning is that what you learn on this retreat it's not like school, you know, that you learn something and then you afterwards you go out into the world and use it. It's like it's right here. It's, you know, the people that trigger you are right here, and the people that you know don't want to communicate with are right here. It's both learning field and practice field at the same time, and this way of learning is, I think, for many people quite unusual, you know, and maybe overwhelming at first. Yeah, I mean, you both of you have been here, so you know what I'm talking about a bit.
I actually had to laugh because he said it's not like school. Actually, that sounds a lot like school to me. You know, not what you're learning, but the environment. It's like when you're in school, you have to stick with people you maybe don't want to be. And the more we go into adult life, we can really like select the people we want to spend time. So as you said, it's unusual to be forced to be like in a family. Like you can't, you have like this mix of people that you love and people that you love a little bit less, or like a little bit less, and you're just stuck with them. And yeah.
Yes, and of course, you know how life works. You always find someone where you can project, you know, your wounds on, or like your fears on, and this person becomes the manifestation of your father or your mother or the uncle that was always mean to you. You know, you have them right here, just in different bodies, and then the whole projection ping pong starts.
To be honest, I'd like to add a bit of a thought that just came up when you said, and we've been at your retreat and we had the playground there to really feel how we are being in relation to others. Luckily for me, the retreats I've been with so far with you two have actually been like a mini playground. There were always people there who either had like a kindred soul or spirit. There was a lot in common with them. So it wasn't so much of an actual playground for me. For me, the real playground is when I'm not in an environment where I'm actually safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm relating to people. That's for me the biggest learning curve.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's when we go into our masks and patterns and hiding, usually, right, to cope with it, because it's not so easy. So yeah, I would not call that playground. I will call that masterclass, maybe.
Yeah, that's where the real shit goes down.
Yeah.
Does anybody of you remember Takeshi's Castle? It's more
Yeah.
like that. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to be talking with you too, knowing also that you've been here before, and then I look out the window and I see the beautiful landscape of Tuscany. Everything kind of connects, you know, the memories and the now and the possibilities of this place.
You're definitely in a beautiful place.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Even though it's challenging, it's also nice, this dichotomy of having a new group and still being in a place that you love and know so well. So like the new and the old together.
Yeah, it is the weaving of all that also, because we have a beautiful group of participants that came here from the very first time, that know also our evolution, and this new person that come and they need to, you know, feel safe into the space, into the group, and of course we need to slowly weave that together. And at the beginning can feel like, oh, there is a group here, and how do we connect, how do we link? And I think one of the key for me here to really create a horizontal line for everyone to feel the same and safe was really to show up vulnerably and talk about that, and find ways to connect, and yeah, we needed to do two presentational rounds so people can really integrate who is here for what are they looking for the retreat. And that was really interesting for us. It was the first time we needed to do that, so we are relearning everything. So it's it's not the fourth retreat here, it's just the first relationship retreat here, and everything has to be unlearned and adapt, and we learned so much, I think.
It's also it's so much about translating, right? You talked about the hierarchy. If you're used to kind of that top-down hierarchy, of course you're looking for leadership, you're looking for middle management, you know, you're looking for your own position. Where do I fit in the organizational structure? And now you come here and there is nothing like that. It's just flat and a couple of different, you know, roles, but also everyone is showing up as the human being that they are. And this translation is happening on many, 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 many levels, not only in the structure, but yeah, it's like a radio, you know, it needs frequency adjustment, attunement.
And it needs also the willingness of showing up and of not just consuming, but really coming here with, because if you want to like come to this horizontal level, you also need to come as a person and show up and share your story, share whatever is here. And
for example, in the beginning, there was this wish that we would help more, right? And my thing was like, we are helping by not helping. Because it is really the self-responsibility that carries you into this flat hierarchy space. And if we would be helping too much, then, you know, I'm up and you're down, and you still haven't learned how to be here, you know. So it's a bit of a tricky thing to wrap your mind around that, and then realize, they are helping, but that just feels differently, and you know, than the classical way.
That's a beautiful dual that you've just mentioned with when is it really help, or when is it that we are actually intruding into somebody's own inner wisdom? And to allow people to explore their own ownership gifts.
Yes, and you know, here's another tricky part. When I look at the people, I see them all equal. I don't have the hierarchy in my head like this. You know, like I know more than you do. We know all different things, you know, it's a whole, like, it's a wide field. But there is no hierarchy in terms of better or worse, or more important or less important, you know, like this, or teacher and student. We are all teachers and students.
So I have one last question, maybe, because we are almost on time, almost done. What do you think is needed in any setting for two people to truly connect? Not just saying to be like vulnerable or to share authentically, but to truly connect. No escape.
Safety.
safety, and I would say curiosity.
Yes, curiosity. Vulnerability. The willingness to be uncomfortable for a while.
That kind of contradicts safety for me.
Yes, in a safe space. Let's say we decide to go on a climb, on a hike together, and it's quite challenging after a while. Once we reach the top of the mountain together, we are much more connected than before.
Necessarily, yeah.
Yeah, so we have achieved something difficult and overcome it together. That creates connection. Within a safe environment, right? We shouldn't probably start with Mount Everest.
Yeah. Thank
Would you have another thing to add?
Is safety something that has to come from the outside, or can you cultivate that from within?
What do you think?
That's why I'd like to know from you guys, because you mentioned safety and it prompts something within me which I'd like to explore more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd really love to hear what that means for you.
I think for me, it starts from self. You know, it must also be, you know, first, do you want to have this conversation? Is it a yes or a no? Or are you right now in a moment that you don't want to connect, for example? You know, like if it's a yes, how can I root my presence into, you know, presence? I think doesn't mean anything, but you know, like how can I be safe within my body first? And I think we talked about the I perspective. I don't know if it can be, you know, that we don't go into these projections with blaming you or. So I feel like this also can, you know, give safety also to the other because I just talked from my perspective. Maybe now we go into more tools and not so much replying your question.
But you mentioned something very important in regards to safety, and at least I can only speak from my perspective, that's being honest first inside. Because sometimes for me, I'm very outward oriented when it comes to groups, and I tend to feel myself and my needs less. So the first thing I should do is really be honest about what are my own needs and not what are the needs of the group, because otherwise I will put them before my own needs and this will cause friction, and then I might get irritated, or I will not feel safe because I'm not aligned in myself. So it doesn't have to do anything with the other person. And I think that's might be a trauma response or something, but it's an important thing. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. It resonates with me what you said, Tanya. Sounds a bit like a cultivation from within, that possibly there's the opportunity when you come into relationship with others, when you've cultivated safety in yourself, whatever safety means, because I'm sure there are millions of definitions here. When you've cultivated it in yourself, even if the environment may not be safe, maybe you will feel safer. Don't know if that makes sense.
Yes.
But
I mean, one simple example is, you know, if you're in an environment where people are, you know, offensive, attacking you all the time, let's say in a toxic work environment or whatever, it's on you to remove yourself. That's creating safety for yourself. And I would also like to add a little bit more like high aiming spiritual perspective to it, because ultimately there is no need for safety because we all are safe already. Yeah. So safety is an egoic need, and on that level valid. But ultimately, it's nice to ask yourself, what in me, who in me feels threatened? Who feels attacked? You know, which part of me feels attacked? And am I really attacked? And sometimes, yes, maybe, and other times, it's my own wound speaking. Because we had this workshop yesterday where you described so beautifully the 5 wounds of the soul and the masks that we wear to cover them up, right? So trying to keep my own wound safe is not going to support my healing.
that's exactly what I've been feeling, yes.
Yeah. So a little bit of, exposure so that the air can actually help heal is good, but not to let so much dirt in either, you know, so it needs to be a safe environment to heal as well.
And I think for healing, you need to have the feeling that others understand you. Otherwise, you can be vulnerable. And if you don't meet an understanding environment, I don't think that healing can occur. And it doesn't have to mean that others are aggressive, but sometimes they just can't relate to you. And this produces this feeling of feeling abandoned or rejected just because others can't relate, and you can't relate to them, and you can't form any connection. And not topic-wise, but on a really human level of empathy. So yeah, I think that's needed as well, not just vulnerability. And say,
Nice that you addressed that, because our next session, starting at 2 p.m. today, will be practicing some sort of an enhanced version of the Imago dialogue, which aims at exactly that, right? One speaker sharing and the other listener really becoming curious and trying to understand, so that the speaker feels seen and heard and understood, right? So that's at the heart of it. And yes, we all need that.
yeah, so all the best for that. It's going to be amazing, of course.
That was nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you as
Have a
well.
good time continuing relating.
And it was so nice to see you, Kelly. Miss you.
Thank you.
So yeah, to you.
Thank you so much for joining, Tanya. It's really great.
Well, Sonia, you get a hug too, virtually.
Oh,
Thank you, guys. It was really nice.
all the best for the rest of the retreat.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Ciao.